Hi, Mr. Braun. It's a pleasure to visit your ABB booth at this great exhibition. Today, I have a couple of questions for you. And are you ready?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. The first one is, at the CIE 2024, what are the standout highlights of ABB Process Industries that demonstrate your technological strengths and address the needs of Chinese market, especially in the metal industry and mining operations? How do this solution, such as smart manufacturing solution, the eMine, and the hoisting solution, enhance operational efficiency, safety, and sustainability for your customers?
Yeah, thank you for the question. The highlights today are the smart manufacturing system for the metals industry, which is actually the background of our interview here. And this is basically collecting data from the whole manufacturing process and really tries to then identify the best way of producing the best possible output with the least input required. You can then compare over shifts, you can compare over different production lines or even different plants, which is the best way to get the optimum result. In this example here, we're basically talking about a cold rolling mill. So we're producing coils. And what you want to get is the golden coil.
Right,
and you want to get it every time.
Yeah.
And smart manufacturing basically helps you to get it there.
Yeah.
The other highlight, which we have over on that side, is e-mining. So this is the total electrification of the mining process from pit to port. And this increase in electrification, adding a couple of constraints, then typically also requires higher levels of automation. And then finally, we are also presenting our new hoisting solution. So we have established a hoisting factory here in the Lingang district of Shanghai already more than 12 years ago. Actually, I inaugurated this during the time I worked for ABB in China.
Great.
And we have basically now introduced the SIL 3 certification, so the highest safety standard.
Right.
So you can already see where this is going. I mean, it is going at higher productivity, better output with less input. It is going at decarbonization, higher sustainability in operation, and it is basically going at increased safety.
Yeah, right. That's great. The next question is about digital transition. ABB plays a vital role in digital transformation of process industry, especially in areas like energy management, data analysis, and the artificial intelligence. So, what do you think the future direction of these technologies will be? And can you share some applications?
Yes, sure. I think generally speaking, the direction is leading towards more of an integration of different solutions so that you can really pull all of the relevant data together. So you get a huge data lake and then you're really getting sense out of it. Today, we have a lot of more insular solutions, little bit of optimization here, a little bit of optimization there.
Right.
I think the future is really to pull it together.
Yeah.
And with new technology, we can really do data processing then also in real time. Today, we have a lot of systems which help us to understand what has happened.
Yeah.
And then you try to optimize the next time around.
Right.
Of course, even better if the processing of the data was so fast that you can really do the optimization process real time.
Right.
And this is basically what we're pushing for. The artificial intelligence will come in various forms. Nowadays, people get excited about the generative AI, which is, of course, interesting.
Yeah.
And I can see clearly use cases for simple programming tasks, for example. I can see use cases screening through customer specifications, thousands of pages, and really finding the right solution, the right product for what the customer is specifying. This would be for generative AI, but equally important is the analytical AI, pattern recognitions, really finding the optimization points. What we're using, for example, in the smart manufacturing application is more like pattern recognition type of AI. So that you can really see, okay, which configuration leads to the best possible outcome. So the system is a learning system, but I would really say it's more analytical AI, machine learning, pattern recognition type of AI.
The next question is about decarbonization. And What specific initiatives has ABB undertaken to support customers in reducing carbon emissions across various sectors, especially in industry like metals and mining? And what challenges and opportunities do you foresee in this transition towards the carbonization?
Generally speaking, a lot of the decarbonization efforts will go through electrification. Electrification is really the key to decarbonization for a lot of these industries. And that is great news for us as electrical engineers, because we then naturally can thrive in this sort of an environment. Now, the interesting question is, how exactly do you electrify processes?
Yeah.
And then it takes a lot of different shapes and forms. It can be that you electrify a mining truck, so you're putting a battery, or you're basically putting dynamic charging by trolley line to replace a diesel engine. In the metals industry, it could be, it's more than on the process innovation side. So you're basically putting DRI, electric arc furnace, substituting blast furnaces, so different kind of steel making. But we're also looking at very innovative technologies which have not yet reached full maturity. We're looking at rotodynamic heating, also for the metals industry, if you want to heat processes up to 2000 degrees centigrade. Same for the cement industry. We're looking at alternative way of doing the calcination in the cement production. So the key is, overall speaking, always electrification, but how exactly this is then going to be achieved is a different question depending on which process we're talking about. Another interesting aspect is green hydrogen. So we have invested into an electrolyzer manufacturer, and then we basically bring all of the surrounding electrical balance of plant for the green hydrogen plants, the rectifiers, the transformers, the whole power distribution and transmission systems. This is, of course, another way to decarbonize a lot of different industries. Again, potentially also large vehicles like mining trucks, or large vessels. That is then, of course, requiring a lot of sustainable power as well. So one interesting aspect is then also feeding all of that power back into the application. And that is, for example, where you need much better energy management systems to deal with the new generation pattern, and then really try to align the consumption patterns to this. Renewable energy, of course, has a bit the characteristic of fluctuating generation, and then it has some impact on how you can run your operation. So that requires more power management, and in the end, also more automation, digitalization to still make it run smoothly.
Right. That's great. And the next question is about the people. The development of a company relies heavily on a strong talent strategy. Can you share ABB's experience in enhancing employee skills and capabilities? And what innovative measures does ABB take to cultivate the next generation of talent?
This very much ties into our previous discussion. For the younger generation, the purpose of what you do is much more important
the purpose.
than for my generation. And ABB being so active in decarbonizing industries, being so mindful about sustainability, is nowadays an important argument to attract younger workforce. If it wasn't for such purpose of our company, it would be hard for young people to really develop a preference for working with us. The next aspect, and again, from our previous question, is that young engineers want to work in a high-tech environment. And we have to make sure that by embracing technologies such as AI, such as digital twins, we're really providing the sort of an inspiring high-tech environment to the young engineers. And so I think we're in a good way. But then also young engineers are looking into new kinds of experience. So we are, for example, offering a graduate program for people who want to join the mining industries, which offer them rotations, which also take them overseas, which also takes them directly to mining sites. So they're not just sitting in an office designing something, but they also see these things, how they operate on the ground. Again, it's making it more attractive. gaining international experience, but also gaining on-the-ground experience.
Yeah, that sounds so great. Yeah, the young people must be very interested in ABB.
Yeah, can't complain. We're getting a good pickup from what we need.
Yeah, right. The last question is about a Chinese market. As we know, ABB emphasizes in China, for China and the world, with over 85% of sales coming from the locally manufactured products and services. And can you share how ABB maintains a close connection with the Chinese market and what the key focus for ABB layout in China over the next few years?
Yes. You mentioned this in China, for China and the world strategy. So that allows us today to already supply 85% of what is needed in the Chinese market from local production, from local engineering. In my business, we came here really early. We celebrated for some of my business already the 30th birthday of being fully operational here, not just with some representative office, but really with the full value chain. So we came here very early in the metals industry, in the pulp and paper industry. But then during my tenure here, about 12 years ago, we started then also pulling more and more manufacturing into China. For example, for our QCS, this is the quality control system for the pulp and paper industry, really high tech, but it's a niche product. And since it came here, it has already produced 700 of such systems. In about the same year, we inaugurated the mine hoist factory in the Lingang district in Shanghai, which also has quite its unique design, which is slightly different from the European design, which is also more tapping into the Chinese supply chain. So you could already see that we then also started to develop specific solution for the Chinese market. I mentioned hydrogen production. I mentioned electric arc furnaces. One of the key component in all of that is high power rectifiers. And also there, we now have a factory for several years already here in China, producing this very crucial component. In fact, the factory is currently fully loaded. So you can see that, and that is another aspect of our China strategy. And this is why we say in China, for China and the world. So we're more and more going outside of China. It's not like just an insular solution. Either you're following the very successful Chinese EPCs on their way abroad, Chinese overseas investments going abroad, or simply because in many places, it's anyhow the only such factory we have in the world. Sometimes it is also about being able to provide alternative solutions, like in the hoisting area. We recently won a project in Turkey, which is not usually the market we intended to serve, but the customer had a preference for the specific Chinese solution. So it is becoming more and more international what we're doing here in China, but at the same time, and the smart manufacturing system I mentioned earlier on, this has been developed in close collaboration with Chinese steel customers, which is quite natural because they're anyhow representing the largest fleet of steel production. And so more and more innovation will now also be developed in collaboration with our Chinese customers. And of course, and then it will also be deployed globally. But as China is the hotspot for certain industrial areas such as metals, it is quite natural that you would then also start certain innovations from here and then spread it out from China to the rest of the world.
Wow, that's great. And all these questions with very wonderful answers from you. Thank you so much.
That's my pleasure.
Pleasure is all mine. Yeah, thank you.